everyone, I'm Randy and welcome back to Transforming the Body. Whether you're here to build muscle, burn fat, or just enjoy watching someone else suffer through a tough workout, you're in the right place. Today I'm taking you through my shoulders and arm routine. Let's be honest, who doesn't want a solid set of shoulders and arms that fill out your t-shirt? A well-built set of delts help create that V taper that so many want, including myself. So grab a protein shake or some popcorn if you're just spectating, and let's get started. We kick things off with dumbbell shoulder presses. I like to start with a couple of warm-up sets to get the blood flowing and my joints ready. Then it's on to the working sets where the real fun begins. This move primarily targets the front delts. It's also testing your ability to keep your core tight and avoid wobbling like a flag in the wind. Pro tip, keep your dumbbells slightly in front of you instead of straight out to the sides. Your shoulders will thank you for that. I set my bench at about an 85-degree angle. This will get the upper chest involved more than sitting straight up. But being slightly back a bit more makes it feel a little bit easier on my shoulders. Do you prefer dumbbells or barbells for shoulder presses? Let me know in the comments below, I'm curious. Next up, behind the neck presses. A controversial movement, but if you have the mobility for it, it's a great way to hit those side delts. There's been a lot of bad press for this movement in the past couple of decades, but the tides are turning. More and more experts are getting back on board with declaring this to be a good movement. The key here is control. We're not trying to turn this into an emergency chiropractic appointment. Keep your elbows under control and don't go lower than your comfort zone. I aim for about ear level, plus or minus. If you're flexible enough, you can certainly go lower. And over time, you probably will be able to go lower the more you get used to this movement. Now on to lateral raises. Sometimes I use cables, but today I'm going with the dumbbells because, well, variety is the spice of life. This is a movement for wider shoulders, so if you want that superhero look, don't skip these. I keep my elbows slightly bent and raise with intent, not momentum. We're not trying to impersonate a bird taking flight. Some people prefer to raise their arms with their pinky fingers up, some with them down, and some neutral. The theory is that the different positions will emphasize different parts of your shoulder more. And if it does work, the difference will be subtle, so just do what works for you. For the rear delt, we got the rear delt raises. Easily neglected, but they complete the shoulder look and help with posture. By laying on the bench instead of sitting on the edge hunched over, you can reduce momentum and increase the consistency of your form from rep to rep and set to set. Here's a tip: don't swing the weights, control it. Your rear delts will feel it and your ego will stay intact. Alright, time for some arms. First up, the cable pushdowns. A great way to warm up the elbows and get the triceps firing without putting too much strain on the joints. I keep my elbows locked in place. No chicken winging here. When you bring your arms up, you can get a bit of a stretch on the triceps, and this is good. Let your triceps stretch. What also feels good is a strong contraction at the bottom of the movement. It's just good all the way through. Alright, this is where the fun begins. A superset of dips and cable curls. I try to keep my torso upright and elbows tucked in to make sure my triceps get the most out of this dip movement. Dips can be brutal, but that's why we love them, right? I usually go down to the point where my upper arms are about parallel to the floor, maybe a little more or less. Going too low puts a lot of stress on my shoulders. Here on cable curls, there's a twist. I do these while lying on a bench. When you stand, the lower part of the movement can become too easy, so lying back on a bench increases the tension throughout the whole range of motion, so my biceps don't get a free ride at the beginning of the movement. I do have to consciously think about keeping my elbows in a fixed position. Otherwise, they tend to drift up and potentially reduce the effectiveness of the exercise. Comment below, what's your favorite bicep exercise? Let's get a debate going in the comments. Now, cable tricep extensions. Bigger arms aren't just about your biceps. Your triceps make up about 2/3 of your total upper arm thickness. I'm using cables for this one since it keeps a constant tension on the muscle. I focus on the full range of motion. No half reps here. One negative about this exercise is that getting into and out of position is extremely awkward. I have experimented with different variations of this over the past year or so, and they all seem to be awkward. That would be one big benefit of working out at a commercial gym. You have more options. To wrap things up, I hit forearms with a wrist roller. Sometimes I do wrist curls hunched over a bench, but this roller is closer to how I would actually use my forearms in real life. Gripping, carrying, lifting things. A lot of people don't do forearm specific exercises, and sometimes it may not be necessary. But when I have enough energy left in my workout, I will do a few sets. The forearms can take it, and I could use it. And that's a wrap. The total workout time on this was about 1 hour and 45 minutes. Definitely on the long side, so I may have to tweak things in the future. So what's next? A leg day with a focus on hip movements. So if you want to see me suffer, make sure to hit the subscribe button and don't miss it.